Hey everyone, Nubkeks here. In today's video, this is probably one of the most important videos I've ever made because we're going to be talking about defensive cooldowns. As a raid leader, I'm a mythic raid leader, cutting edge raid leader. This is consistently the one area, or perhaps the biggest area, where people struggle, where people are weak, where people fail. It's in terms of understanding why, when, and how they're using their defensives. So I'm going to take you on a deep dive here in today's video. I got a couple of different examples from a couple of mythic fights to show you. Again, this might be a little bit advanced if you're just a normal raider, but if you're a heroic raider looking to improve, or you're a mythic raider looking to help their guild push higher or to climb through better guilds, like this stuff absolutely 100% matters a ton. It makes a huge difference. You can be someone that's being carried by your team, or you can be someone that's actually working to carry the team yourself. And this is one of the biggest things. So yeah, let's dive right into it. Okay, the first thing I want to dive into is the 3 big mistakes that people make when it comes to how they're using their defensives. Okay, the 3 big mistakes. Again, we've got some Mythic N'Zoth footage. This was the final boss from BFA. And then we're also going to be looking at Council of Blood, which is the current boss in Castle Nathria, which we're currently progressing on, as I think 2 good examples of fights that are relatively simple, actually, in terms of where you would use those defensives and why and how. Mistake number 1 then is using your damage reduction cooldowns after the damage has already happened. We've all been there, okay? We've all been there. It's all happened to us. This happens to me every single time I get ganked out of a flight path. I'm not even watching the screen. I'm watching something else and I panic and I press the defensives at the wrong time. We've been there, okay? Damage reduction cooldowns, they're reducing the incoming damage. Let's say the boss is casting, super uber fireball or super uber pyroblast. He smacks you with that for 90% of your health. Okay, you panic. You go, oh my god, I'm so scared. Then you press your damage reduction cooldown, like reduces damage taken by 30%. The damage has already happened. It doesn't matter. It's too late. You need to be pressing that stuff in advance, right? Noticing, hey, the boss, oh, I see he's casting super uber fireball. It's targeted at me. I'm going to press my defensive cooldown before that hits. I'm going to be ready for it, right? If some dude has a crossbow and he shoots you with the crossbow and then he's reloading his crossbow and suddenly there's you with the arrow, through your chest, and then suddenly you start dodging. He's just going to be looking at you like, what the heck are you doing? Like, you should have been dodging when I was shooting you. It doesn't make any sense. So that's really important. Not all defensive cooldowns are those sort of damage reduction cooldowns. Some of them are reactive. I think the best examples are like using health stones, using health potions. There's no point drinking a health stone or drinking a health potion, eating a health stone. Do you eat a stone? I don't know. Do you eat it? Who knows? Lick it? Smash it? Who knows? But you don't do that when you're at full health. It's not going to do anything, right? It's not going to do anything. So it's about using that stuff preemptively. So for example here, I've thrown up some of the things we're going to look at here today. For example, with Havoc Demon Hunter, this was the BFA version. Havoc actually got nerfed a lot coming into Shadowlands because this stuff was just too strong. So for example, Blur was 35% damage reduction for 10 seconds on a 1-minute cooldown. That's an example of your damage reduction, right? The dude's about to shoot you. You see he's going to shoot you. You pop Blur, 35% of that shot is now mitigated. It's like it never happened. So that is a huge deal. Nether Walk, which is basically complete damage immunity for 5 seconds. It also gives you movement speed. That's on a 2-minute cooldown, but with Nether Walk, you can't attack while you're doing it. And then Metamorphosis. Actually, a lot of people don't know this. I can show you an example. In fact, let me show you an example right now. So I got this wrong, but Metamorphosis, I got it wrong once and I got it right once in this video. Let's see if we can find it. Again, the full video here is up on the channel. I think this is actually a little bit late. So if we go back to it, but Metamorphosis actually gives you 1 minute. Yeah, it gives you, 1 second of complete damage and just everything immunity. It's like you're in a Divine Shield while you're in that Metamorphosis jump animation. So you can use it to immune things. So in this case, I'm going to be trying to use it to immune Evoke Anguish. I'm going to miss it. I'll show you me hitting it in a second. But you just need to Metamorphosis in like the last second here. You see I cast it too late. The jump animation didn't line up. If we go near the end, I should definitely hit it. Let me see. So we should have a Mind Grasp. Again, that's a little bit too late. Here we go. So again, this Evoke Anguish, we're going to hit this one this time. So you can watch and see Evoke Anguish. Timed it right. Bam. Metamorphosis. We didn't get this debuff that you see everyone else is struggling with. They all have to go and deal with that. We don't have it because Metamorphosis is actually, it's an immunity for 1 second. There was 3-minute cooldown in BFA. 4-minute cooldown now, of course, without the Heart of Azeroth reducing it. But yeah, then you've got your health stone, your health pot. These are heals, so these are reactive, right? So these ones, they're damage reduction. You're reducing the damage that is about to happen. You're preempting the damage. These are heals. These are reactive. This is the damage has come in, then I'm going to pop these. And this is why damage reduction is so strong, because everyone has a health stone. Everyone has a health pot. Again, this used to be 1 per fight. Now it's a 5-minute cooldown. You might get a couple out in a fight. But yeah, everyone has at least 2 of these really powerful reactive cooldowns. So there you go. You're already sorted for that reactive stuff. It's about being smart then in your predictive stuff. You know, if you get blasted with Uber Mega Pyroblast, you get taken by surprise, use your reactive CD, but you need to be planning ahead with your preemptive ones. Mistake number 2 is not valuing defensive cooldowns. You get this a lot, especially from DPS players. They don't really appreciate, it's kind of weird to me, in fact, they don't really seem to appreciate defensive cooldowns. You get something to be like 20% damage reduction. It's not even worth pressing, is it? It's 20%. It's basically 0. Why is it on my bar? Just give me another button that does damage. You know, that's the sort of thing you get. But then they'll turn around and be like, "You motherfucker, that fucking ring that you took, that was my best. They were my best stats. That was like 0.5% more damage. Do you have any idea how much that is? 0.5% more damage? Oh my god, you fucking like." And it's like, how there's just some sort of disconnect happening there, I feel. People, yeah, but consistently people undervalue how impactful these cooldowns can be. They're absolutely huge. It can add up to tons of damage, especially damage reduction cooldowns. These can add up to absolutely tons of damage. And even if they're not necessarily leading up to tons of damage, it can still be just enough damage that whereas you might have died or someone else on your team might have died, it's enough health, it's enough survivability to get you through that safely. Maybe you save your healer from using their cooldowns or something like that. It can be a pretty big deal. This stuff can all add up really, really well. And number 3 actually comes into that as well, which is thinking about the team. Players often don't think about the team. Again, you get this all the time. It's going, well, I didn't die. I don't see a problem. I'm not using my defensive. I didn't die. I'm totally fine. Again, you know, when you're coming into raiding, and this is very much true of Mythic raiding as well, you know, like, okay, maybe you only went down to half health there, but again, maybe so it was a little bit different maybe here at the end of BFA. There was so much self-healing. But certainly here at the start of Shadowlands, you know, to get from half health back to full health, you know, that doesn't happen just magically. That has to be healed up, you know, by a healer. It's taking them global cooldowns. That's healing spells with cooldowns, probably, and with mana costs, almost definitely, that have to be pumped into you instead of into somebody else, right? So you're putting other people in danger by you taking damage that you could have avoided. Again, you could think about the same thing could easily happen in PvP, you know, whatever. If your disc priest has to blow pain suppression on you to keep you alive because you didn't use your defensive, that's a pain suppression he doesn't have for himself, he doesn't have for whoever else, your other teammate, or even you at a later circumstance where you could actually be in danger. So that's another big mistake. Okay, so let's talk then. How are we actually going to put this stuff together? What are we going to do? I'm going to show you the N'Zoth fight and exactly what I did. So I'll explain that to you, right? And then after that, we'll look at the current fight, Counts of Blood, and we can sort of look at that together, and you guys can sort of be able to do it alongside me. So let's go here. Again, bearing in mind, this is the toolkit we had as a Havoc Demon Hunter, right? This is our toolkit. These are the 5 defensive cooldowns. How are we going to use them, right? What are we going to do? Here we go. This was our first kill on N'Zoth the Corruptor. So we're in the logs here. Now, the first thing, the easiest thing you can do, go into the damage taken tab, yeah? And we're going to switch it to damage taken from ability. And this gives you a really cool insight. In fact, we can see the total graph here. But look down at this. And again, this is why I think it's such a great example, because this is such a simple fight when it actually comes to damage. You can get some really clear ideas for what's happening. Infinity's Toll is the main thing. That's just damage every 5 seconds, though. So that's actually not a big deal. This is just constant ticking damage through the fight. You can see it's very steady. At some points, I'm zoomed in. Let me fix that. That's going to put things off. Here we go. This is much better. This is the overall fight. The fight is sort of split into 2 6-minute chunks. We'll cover that in a second. But again, you can see that Infinity's Toll is just mostly constantly ticking. Fairly constant damage. These lower parts of damage are for the Psychus phase, which we'll come to in a second. But yeah, that's sort of constantly going on all the time. Evoke Anguish is the other big one, and this is the big mechanic of phase 2. So let's actually cover that first because it's even more straightforward. Evoke Anguish, right? This is what the boss is going to cast. In phase 2, he's going to cast it, Burning Rush, no, this one. He's going to cast it 4 times, right? So twice, really close together, then there's going to be a gap, then he's going to cast it another 2 times, right? Then you're going to come back after a break, and he's going to do it all over again a second time around, right? He's going to do this set of 4 Evoke Anguishes near the end as well, okay? So he's going to come in here and Evoke Anguish. Again, he's going to do it 4 times, right? So if we go in, and I can show you this, we go to like 6 minutes, actually we're almost there perfectly. You'll see this coming through. And this also ties in. Remember, big mistake. What was another big mistake I talked about? Not thinking about your team, about your healers. You'll see with this Evoke Anguish, it's basically this 10-second dot on you. And once it expires, it leaves a pool on the ground, which you can't stand in, and those pools grow. So you have to get out of it. Guess what makes it difficult to heal? Having to move, right? You can't heal as well. You need to stand still and actually cast spells. Oftentimes, to heal effectively, you need stuff to hit. So here we can see this Evoke Anguish. Actually, if we go back a little bit, again, you can see here, we actually have Blur up as it hits. Great. We're coming in, we're dropping in. Here's Blur with it active, dropping this Evoke Anguish. So you can see lots of movement. This is difficult for the healers. Let me actually pause it right there, right? We'll go in. This is coming in. Look how stable our health is here. Now, this is probably a little deceptive. This is probably a little bit deceptive because we have lots of, healing cooldowns assigned and lots of cool stuff like that. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff here to mitigate this. But look, we have players here that they are dropping low. They might not have a defensive for this or whatever. Maybe they hit each other. That's also possible. But guess what? Because we used our defensive, we stayed like 90% plus the whole time. We were smart about it, which means that the healers, they don't need to waste heals on me. They can be healing these other people who are in danger, and they don't need to freak out or panic, right? So you get the idea. We're going to come across and so on. I'll show you the other, I'll just sort of let this play through, right? So this is a super dangerous mechanic. It's very obvious that it's super dangerous. It's like the biggest spike of damage in the entire fight. The healers have to move. It's very stressed. There's a lot of movement. This is a really tough thing to do. If we overlap these circles, we're going to smack each other, which we just did, which wasn't good. Bounced off the wall. That's bad play, actually, right there. But you get the idea. And it comes into more movement. So it's very difficult for for the healers to stabilize that, right? So it's how are we going to play around it? What are we going to do? Let's go take a look. Let's take a look. So if we go into our casts, we're going to have to reset this this time period as well. We can look at me, and this is what I did, okay? This is what I did. So we'll even take just the second part of the fight. So from like 6 minutes to the end. Okay. And we're going to look at this. Yeah. We're going to look at it. And we're going to make sure that we'll do it again. This thing here, 6 minutes to the end for the boss. And you could kind of treat this as just one single fight. So if we look at this with Evoke Anguish. Okay. Spike 1, Spike 2, Spike 3, Spike 4. Here's what we came in with. I've got a plan for every single one, right? I've got a plan for every single one. A metamorphosis, which I said with that immunity. So you can see here are the first 4, right? My plan is to blur the first one. I'm just going to eat the second one. We're just going to have to deal with it. The third one, I'm going to use Nether Walk. The fourth one, I'm going to immune it with metamorphosis. Never get the dot, never take any damage. Now, interestingly enough, as I showed you just a bit earlier, I actually messed it up and I missed the metamorphosis and I didn't blur as the backup strat, which was my plan. So that's a mistake with the plan, so that's bad. Again, you can see over here with the second set of 4 Evoke Anguishes, we've got Blur on the first one, Nether Walk on the second one, Metamorphosis on the third one to immune it, and then Blur on the final one. Again, this is just because of how this particular fight ends. It's very chaotic, but basically the reason being that immuning the 4th Evoke Anguish the first time would give you more DPS with Metamorphosis, but as you can see, the boss is almost dead, so we're going to kill the boss too quickly after the 4th Evoke Anguish that there actually isn't any value in using meta there. It'd be too much lost damage. So that's a weird, unique thing about Metamorphosis, but for these advanced fights, that's the sort of planning that you need to be doing, right? So you can see we're getting tons of damage out of meta here. This Evoke Anguish only coming out right now, and we're about to go insane in like 5 seconds, or this one here in 15 seconds, so we wouldn't get full value. The boss would die long before we got the meta value. It's a big DPS burn, so that's specific to that one, right? The boss does die in just a second, by the way. But yeah, so we've got a plan for every single one. We're thinking about it, right? We've worked it out. Boom, cool. Cutting edge, nice. So we've got this planned out. That's the sort of thing that you want to be doing. If we look at the entire fight, you can see that that planning has gone through the entire fight. We're making good use of these defensive CDs. Well, meta, not strictly a defensive one there in the earlier part of the fight. It's really used defensively here. But you can see, again, I'm not using these randomly, right? If we look at the first 6 minutes, like we just looked at here, so we'll go to about here. Again, once again, we're going to be basing our, how I'm using those defensives around the stuff that actually matters. And there's actually a fun part here that I don't think many people actually realized. No one actually mentioned it to me yet, but I noticed it and thought it was hilarious. So again, in here, we don't have Eternal Anguish. We don't have Anguish, but we have Eternal Torment. So the boss is going to do these 4 big waves right near the start. In fact, there's some near the start of the fight here. So let's take a look at them. So we can see, what am I going to be doing? Well, I'm going to, here you go. In fact, before we even look at this, you can see the plan. Okay, about 30 seconds, 50, about 120, and then about 2 minutes. You can see my plan here again. I'm going to nether walk the first one, blur the second one, eat the third one, and then I'm going to blur the fourth one. And you can see why. Again, all this stuff, I've thought about all of this. It's all been planned out. And this is what you want to aim for as well. So here we go. So we're in, this is the first one is coming up. It's Eternal Torment 1. So we're going to nether walk this. Why? The boss is like 99% damage reduction, and there's nothing to actually do. So we're going to nether walk. Bam, we pop nether walk right before that first tick. Once paranoia is removed and we're able to move freely, we're just going to go and take the gateway. And there you go, right? We immuned all that damage. Was it important? No, it wasn't important. Maybe it saved my healer some mana though. And I've got really nothing else to use nether walk on in the meantime. Not missing any DPS, so we're all good. Now here comes the second one, right? Here's what I'm going to be doing. Again, mistake number 3. Not thinking about your team, going, well, I'm fine, so I don't care. What's going on here in this fight for Mythic N'Zoth? Eternal Torment's going to come in, it's going to do some damage. I'm at 100% health. I'm in 0 danger of dying, especially because this boss basically does nothing when you're upstairs. However, we do have the Mind Gate, the Mind Realm phase. Half of the team is going to go through the Mind Gate. Thing is, they're taking damage from this Eternal Torment right before they go in, and it's very difficult to heal down there. In fact, they're only going to have 1 healer for like 8 people, so it's going to be pretty intense. If I mitigate this Eternal Torment, then that's a whole bunch of damage that my healers upstairs don't need to heal. They only have a few seconds before that Mind Gate activates. They can use those seconds. They can use those 2, 3 maybe global cooldowns to put healing into the players going downstairs instead of having to heal my like lazy ass because I haven't used a defensive, right? So we're going to come into this, yeah. And again, this is all thinking about what's good for the team here. I'm going to be popping Blur. Like, Blur is active. You can see my health is barely moved at all. You can see that some people, their health did move a lot, right? Their health went a lot lower. We got people dropping to like half health and stuff like that. The healers have to heal them. They might be panicking a bit to heal them. They don't need to panic to heal me. We're good. They can focus on the people that need it more, the people going downstairs. Now, the funny thing here, actually, I don't know if you guys can notice, but if you watch, this was not something you want to plan your defensives for, but Psychus actually is meleeing me. This was something I figured out when I was looking at my damage taken and figuring out, like, am I doing stuff well? I'm going, hey, hang on a second. Why am I taking damage? What? So much damage from Psychus. What's going on? I'm getting meleeed. So yeah, the tank didn't taunt, didn't have threat. I was getting meleeed. Survived it, mostly because of Blur, actually giving you 100% dodge as well. So that was quite lucky. Another melee DPS might have just died. And I was moving the right way, so we got away with it. But yeah, kind of hilarious. Tanking mistake. On the kill as well. Cutting edge kill. The tank lost threat in the boss for like 10 seconds. Then you also want to think about predictable damage versus random damage. Or this is I guess another way to put it would be, people going, oh, I don't want to use my defensive, just in case. Oh, goodness me. Just see, what if I get hit really hard and I die? Oh no. What if? So again, this comes back to understanding the fight. Some fights are unpredictable. Let me actually get you an example. Okay, here's an example, which is Artificer Zymox. You can actually see me mess this up on our kill video. But you've got some just random pulsing damage here, okay? But then you've got these tank explosions. So periodically, there's going to be this tank explosion, a glyph of destruction, yeah, which is going to do big boom, big chunk of damage to your team. These hyperlight sparks are just random 10k damage. So you got about 40k health is what we're talking about here. 40k health. You're going to get chunked with the Glyph of Destruction, which is on average hitting for about 15,000. Big chunk of your health on average. Hyperlight Spark is on average hitting for about 9,000, 10,000. If this randomly hits you at the same time as the Glyph, you're in danger. But the bigger thing is this Withering Touch. This Withering Touch is doing about 10,000 damage every second and a half. Right, that's every second and a half. So you could very easily on this fight, for example, because this is entirely random, right? It's entirely random. Some people didn't get hit at all. Some people get hit lots. It's entirely random. Like for example, here's me. I had it a bit here. Let's look at let's say Polka over here. He got it 3 different times, dude. He got it 3 different times, right? Now where it gets dangerous, if we look at Polka, you can see that these damage spikes are dangerous. We can get rid of Aura of Dread. We can get rid of Dimensional Tear, Shadow Mend, Soul Cinch we can get rid of. You see this Withering Touch, right? But look at this right here. That's scary, right? He's got Withering Touch right after that Glyph of Destruction. That's pretty scary. That could kill you. The Hyperlight Spark has also chunked him right after this, and it's chunked him then in this dot. There's a real risk you could die there with stuff overlapping. And you don't know. You don't know if you're going to be the target of this debuff, so you might have to plan stuff differently there, right? You might have to plan stuff differently. So, for example, going back to our example, if I was playing as a Havoc Demon Hunter, okay, what would I do in this circumstance? If I'm looking at damage taken from abilities, I might just use my Blur. Again, this is the BFA version, so it's stronger. I might just try use Blur on nearly every single Glyph of Destruction, but I might actually spec into Netherwalk, but never use it unless I am sat there with this really, really nasty dot. I've got the nasty dot, and there's about to be a tank explosion. I'll save Netherwalk until then. I'll Netherwalk the tank explosion a few ticks of this dot so that, hey, the whole raid team gets chunked by the tank explosion. The healers are doing AoE healing. They probably have assigned healing cooldowns that they need to press. They might struggle to spot heal me and keep me alive through that just extreme damage. I'm going to save Netherwalk for that moment. I'm not going to use it, but I'll try to use Blur as much as possible. So you get the idea. Maybe I'll save my Healthstone, my Health Pot for that as well. I'll only use Healthstone and Health Pot reactively for Withering Touch. If I drop below half health, I'm going to pop those things to just try to keep myself stable. You can see in the kill video that we did for this, that I messed it up. I basically was like, YOLO, we're at the end of the fight. I just popped all my defenses on Withering Touch. Did not think about the tank explosion. We had a tank explosion overlap Withering Touch. What happened? I died. Could have been more spot healing, but still, that was an avoidable problem. If I'd played it smarter, I wouldn't have died, and that's what you're looking to do, right? You want to play smart, and you want to avoid your deaths. Hopefully you get it, right? You get it. You understand the mistakes to avoid, and we've got a few steps for what to do. Let's apply it to this current fight we're in here. So this is Council of Blood. You guys might not have seen it on Mythic difficulty yet. We're progressing it at the moment. But basically, the Mythic mechanic is something called Dancing Fever, right? It's something called Dancing Fever. You'll see it in a second here. The first one comes in like 5 seconds into the fight, but it basically is going to put 3 stacks of a debuff on 5 different people. Every time they jump, it removes 1 stack, but it does 5,000 damage to the raid. This obviously adds up to a lot of damage, right? This was going to be an awful lot of damage, because if each person, their 3 stacks, dropping them is like 15,000 damage times 5. You know, you're talking about 75,000 damage to the entire raid group. Every single person in the raid is taking about 75,000 damage. For example, me here as a priest, fully buffed, I've got about 40,000 life. So this damage is about enough to kill you almost twice over. So it becomes very important to use, you know, raid cooldown. You see we've got things assigned. So right now there's an anti-magic zone down. We have Aura Mastery should be running. There we go. Aura Mastery's kicked in as well. So we've got those 2 things. And we have 2 Disc Priests putting Spirit Shells on the team as well. So we have a lot of damage mitigation coming in to try to deal with this. But that is sort of the key mechanic here. So if we go into Council of Blood, you can see this is our best pull. We're getting pretty far. There's definitely some stuff to improve. But again, let's apply our thought process here. Let's apply the thought process. So we're going into damage taken, yeah? We want to look at the damage taken. Where is the damage coming from? Don't really care who's taking it. Obviously, the tanks are always going to be on top. No real surprise. Here we go. Look how simple this is, right? Look how simple this is. This is what you want to do. Dancing Fever. This is the big offender. That's what's doing all that damage. Cool. Oppressive Atmosphere. That's another big thing. And then melee is just stuff that's happening to the tanks. They're getting meleeed, straightforward enough. So we can see, you can see the spikes here. Will the spikes align with this? Yes, they will. where am I going? Dancing Fever. You see exactly where those spikes of damage are. Dropping those Dancing Fevers, that's where the real damage is. And we can compare the other stuff as well. Like, let's get rid of the total for a second. Oppressive Atmosphere. This is what you might know from normal or heroic. The longer you fight a boss, the more just steady passive AoE damage is going on to the raid. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. Throw Food's going to kick in phase 2. And then towards the end, which is just more passive damage going out as well, which can add up to a lot. And you can sort of see the big overlaps here. Now, Dark Recital is entirely avoidable damage. Drain Essence is in like phase 1. So that's sort of before Throw Food. You can see it's not as bad. But yeah, if you look at this, you can instantly see and start planning, where am I going to use my defensives? We're going to use Unholy Death Knight as an example. It's actually very similar to what we were looking at with the Havoc Demon Hunter. So with Unholy Death Knight, Anti-Magic Shell. It's 1 minute cooldown, gives you a 30% HP shield, Magic Absorb for 5 seconds. Cool. Icebound Fortitude, 30% damage reduction for 8 seconds. That's a 3 minute cooldown though. You can see how OP Blur was back in BFA, by the way. Lichborn, 10% leech for 10 seconds. That's a 2 minute cooldown. Very minor, but hey, it's a little bit extra. You might as well. Then you got your health stone, your health pot. So again, we're looking at the wrong log there. We're going over here. We can X these ones off, keep it a bit cleaner. We can X that off as well. These are our healing CDs assigned, by the way, to these fevers. So we got lots and lots of externals. Nice. But again, you can look at this and you want to go, where should I be using my things? And hey, we can instantly see some things, right? These are my tools. Anti-Magic Shell. It's a 1 minute cooldown. Oh, look at this Dancing Fever. I can Anti-Magic Shell this. About 1 minute 45-ish for this one. 2 minutes 45-ish for this one. 3 minutes 45 for this one. Awesome. And then likewise here. This one's a bit messy. This was not very clean. And then this one. These are all 1 minute apart. I can hit Anti-Magic Shell on every single one of these damage spikes. And again, this is keeping myself safe. By keeping my health higher, keeping myself safer, it helps the heal team conserve mana and get healing to the players that need it during these damage spikes. And again, just value that cooldown. Awesome. I can have Anti-Magic Shell on that. Icebound Fortitude. Well, here's the question. Is there any unpredictable damage, or is it all predictable? Nah, it's pretty much all predictable. Now, I will say actually that Drain Essence in phase 1, she's going to choose 3 random players, the boss, and she's going to do damage to them. It's not really that dangerous, but you could certainly plan around that. So let's plan around it, okay? Let's get rid of Throw Food. Let's throw in Drain Essence, which is going to happen here at the start. It's going to pick random people. So I can go, you know what? I will save Icebound Fortitude for that Drain Essence. If it targets me, I'll have Icebound Fortitude. If it targets me a second time, I'll use Hellstone Health Pot. I've got 2 backups there already. I'm all good, right? And by doing this, I'll use these here. Preferably I won't. But I can see, hey, this is pretty scary. This one right here, we've got lots of stacks of Oppressive Atmosphere, okay? And then we've got this thing coming in. That's a bit spooky. This one right here is actually pretty scary as well. I probably want to make sure to have Hellstone Health Pot ready here. I could have Drain Essence, while there's also pretty high stacks of this Oppressive Atmosphere, and we have a Dancing Fever. That's a nasty overlap, like 230, 240-ish, 340-ish. That's pretty spooky. We see the same thing over here. 6 minutes, that's spooky. High stacks, and we have the Dancing Fever. That's spooky. They're the ones to watch out for. Same thing over here, sort of mirroring. Okay, so you could plan it out and go, all right, hopefully, I'll use Icebound Fortitude for sure at this 241. Okay, I'll do that. And then I'll use it again 3 minutes later. I can use it again here. Perfect. On the 6 minute one. I can get it guaranteed in on these 2. I might pop it earlier on these if I need to, though, and then I use Hellstones to fill in instead. But I can plan around that, so I can plan it. So you see we're applying our tools. Lichborn, again, I can fill in with Lichborn. Now, this is where some of my raiders are not going to be happy, because I was going through the list, and I was looking, right? I was looking at this, and I said, okay, what are my Death Knights doing? And I looked at my first Unholy Death Knight. I looked at what he's using. I said, okay, good. We've got a Hellstone. Great. We've got a Spiritual Healing Potion. Those are coming in near to the end. So we already saw 6 minutes is going to be a pretty tough one. We already saw that. Okay, cool. There's no Anti-Magic Shell. There's no Icebound Fortitude. There's no Lichborn. Literally haven't used them once. Not even once. Not a single time. So there's a ton of value being lost out here. And it's making the fight just much harder for the rest of the team, right? It's making the fight much harder for the rest of the team. I should have left the damage taken up. If I go to the, because you got nothing for those spikes. If I go to the next Death Knight, this one was a lot better. So we can see, for example, anti-magic shell. Okay, that's coming in. Again, it's probably not optimized. We're not getting one on every single one of these fevers, which we could. Also, anti-magic zone was forgotten by the other Death Knight, just even though assigned didn't use them. Just didn't use them. Like fuck the team, which is about 300,000 I think damage mitigation missed out on across the whole raid team. The equivalent of like 3 revivals, not pressing anti-magic zone anyway. But we've got anti-magic shell coming in. If we look at this, what else? We have Icebound Fortitude. Okay, cool. And we've got we've Lichborn as well. You can see it's actually fairly nicely spaced out. This is, you know, again, like I said, this is not fully optimized. It's not fully optimal like we looked at there, I would probably think. But this is like a pretty solid YOLO attempt, which is kind of going, okay, without like super optimizing and breaking it down, which is fairly appropriate for how many pulls we have in the fight. There's still a broad spread of cooldowns applied to each one of those damage spikes. So, you know, coming in right here at the start, we have the anti-magic shell at the start. Maybe a little bit late, but it's there. Lichborn coming in there to help top him up. That's fine. Probably got targeted by that random ability. Cool. So Lichborn used for that. Fine. Then, you know, 150, we've got the anti-magic shell for this spike, right? Anti-magic shell for that spike. Icebound's coming around 250, which is this spike. And then Lichborn's coming in after that. Again, maybe it was targeted by the random thing. But you get the idea. So, you know, there's effort put in there. That's not too bad. If we looked then at, again, like I think our Havoc, he's only been in for a couple of pulls, so you can forgive a lot more. We would say, again, Blur, you would say, look at this. Again, this is what I'm talking about, guys, where people, it's the biggest consistent problem that I see as a raid leader. People don't use their defense as well. Blur, it's a 1 minute cooldown now. It's much weaker. It's only 20% damage reduction now. It's only half as good as it used to be in BFA, right? Or just it's a little bit better than that. But yeah, I mean, 1 minute, again, you could have Blur for every single damage spike. You could have that blurred and mitigate that damage for your team. Massive, really, really helpful, and also keeping you safe as well. So that's missed out on. Like if I look at the Balanced Druids, they also have a similar thing with Bark Skin. See, Bark Skin's not even in the list. It's not even used once, not even once. Bark Skin here. Bark Skin is used here. It's used twice, about 5 minutes and around 6 minutes. So, okay, we're hitting these spikes. Again, I would say they're probably coming in. This one's probably a little bit late. That one's probably good. But yeah, they're coming in for the spikes. But again, there's no reason not to use them for these other. I guess it's a compliment to us. I'm playing Disc. I guess it's a compliment to Disc. How well we must be doing on Disc Priest with our spirit shells that people don't feel in danger. But still, it's about planning things out and understanding. So there you go, guys. There you go. Again, I'll show you my notes. I don't write a lot of notes, and this ended up being more rambly and waffly than I wanted. But hopefully we got that core info in for today's video. Okay, so typical mistakes: using damage reduction when the damage has already happened, which is what I suspect, by the way, has happened here probably. You'd have to actually find the exact timings, but who cares, right? Not valuing the power of the cooldown, just kind of going, whatever. Like, could you imagine a DPS player? Like, could you imagine if he only used Celestial Alignment like once in the fight? Like, it just wouldn't happen. You know, DPS, you're going to put so much effort into going, how can I get the most damage out of my damage cooldowns? I want to press it so much. I love my damage cooldowns. But then that same value isn't put into defensive cooldowns. Even though, oftentimes, for most raid teams, I would say, you're probably not struggling for damage. It's quite rare to struggle for damage. It's much, much, much more common to struggle for staying alive to the end of the fight. For the most part, if you get everyone through the entire fight and nobody dies, and they do the mechanics, even if they're doing bog average DPS, you'll probably still kill those bosses. You know, unless you're pushing for really high world ranks. For most guilds, for most teams, if you just get through alive, you're gonna kill the boss. So in that sense, damage reduction, defensive CDs are probably even more important. Number 3, not thinking about the team. Again, going, hey, I'm not personally in danger, but by mitigating the damage coming in, by keeping myself as safe as possible, you know, by just maximizing the value of my cooldowns, you know, for that predictable damage, I can put my entire team, whether it's an arena team, a dungeon team, a raid team, I can put them in a better position to succeed. You know, like if I'm a fire mage and I have blazing barrier, I've got cauterize, a cheat death, you know, I've got cauterize, I've got ice block, a full immunity, that's also a full cleanse, I've got mirror images, I can shimmer around things to get out of stuff. What else do they have? Alter time now as well. I've got all these defensive cooldowns. I want to make sure I'm the safest person. Like if I'm in a dungeon and I'm running with like an enhancement shaman or like a disc priest, like a spec, which just, you know, specs which have terrible defensives. If I can turn around and go, yo, healer, don't worry about me. I've got it covered. I've got all these defensives. I'm using them. I've got a plan. The boss is going to hit us with bombs and like three different bombs in the fight. I'll ice block the first one, alter time the second one, and then whatever, I'll cauterize and health pot the other one. Don't worry about me. You keep the other guys alive. You know, having that contribution is huge. Again, what to do? You want to be look for the most damage taken. Like, where are you taking the most damage? Okay, here's where I'm taking damage. You can even look at raw damage. These are the damage spikes. What am I looking out for? What's hitting me? Is it dangerous, right? Is it dangerous? Where is the danger? Is it predictable? Is it random? Like, is there a random dot, right? Is there, you know, a random player gets a bomb. You really need to save a defensive for that bomb or you're going to die. Or is it entirely predictable? Again, we looked at 2 fights here, which are pretty much entirely predictable. If it's predictable, you can entirely plan around it. If it's random, you need to hold something back to deal with the random. And then again, be thinking about it. Where are the healers going to struggle? Where's the team going to struggle? Where can I help out the most? Where am I having the impact? And there you guys go. Pretty big, hopefully a deep dive into defensives. Let me know any questions you have in the comments. Thank you for watching. Wish us luck for our next pulls on Council of Blood. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.